Hello to the curious and the thoughtful. It's Ellie again. So great to see you. Before I begin today's episode, I have to clarify, I'm not calling myself a star. This t-shirt actually says Starlight. But I was looking at myself and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, it looks like I'm trying to say I'm the star of the show. It's Starlight. Okay, let's get that really clear. The reason why I'm a bit self-conscious about it today is because I'm talking about empowerment. And there's this new trend. It's been going on for about a year or so, and it's called villain era. I'm going to describe villain era to you in a moment, but it has really picked up steam in the past year. And it's claiming to be all about empowerment, about finally putting yourself first, setting really strong boundaries and not caring about what other people think. It sounds really good and empowering, doesn't it? Except there's a problem. The way that it's being sold online is actually a trap. Instead of real empowerment, villain era can actually suck you into the abyss of isolation and bitterness and performative rebellion. You know, the stuff that may look good on camera, but once the camera is off, you're actually sadder than ever. And if you don't know what villain era is, all you have to do is do a quick search on your favorite social media platform and a cringe-worthy number of videos and shorts and memes and GIFs and things will come up to show you. There'll be hundreds of thousands of them showing you how to and how meaningful it was in the moment and how someone got the better of someone else. And a lot of these videos also come from people who claim to have a clue about how powerful and self-empowering villain era can be, but who, as per usual, really don't have the slightest clue. But you know what? Since when did truth matter? Oh, wait, it matters on this channel. So this is villain era. This is what villain era claims to actually be, and it's trending everywhere. It's supposed to be all about self-care, setting boundaries, and building self-confidence. Okay, apparently. It talks about how saying no is a personal strength, but there's something missing. It only really has half of the story. Villain era, the way that it's being presented by 99% of the world, is actually all about rejection. And empowerment isn't about rejection. It's not about rejecting the world with cruelty and one-liners and selfishness and detachment. True empowerment is about setting conscious, workable boundaries for yourself, looking inward, and creating sustainable, authentic connections with other people. That's empowerment. And villain era doesn't offer that. The meme version of villain era promotes cruel one-liners and emotional detachment. And what it does is it sets people up to look like the main character in some kind of a story. But all it really does is it leaves those people lonelier than they were before. According to real experts out there, the real ones like Carl Jung, for example, this kind of viral trend is actually shadow worship. It's an example of getting stuck in the idea of something like rebellion instead of integrating your shadow self and becoming a whole person who functions well. And then, of course, someone like Joseph Campbell would say that the hero's journey, very much like the fool's journey, involves facing your shadow and then returning to balance. So you actually have to do the work. You have to look inside yourself and then return to a balanced state where you're no longer obsessed with something like a villain era and getting the better of other people. The villain era trend only stops halfway in the process. It just leaves people in a prison of their own shadow. So here is a simple guardrail for anyone who's thinking of entering into their villain era. Don't confuse rebellion with empowerment. They're not the same thing. Empowerment builds you up. It collects all the pieces of who you once were and it mends them into a whole person so that you can function with all of the traits that you have in a positive, constructive way. And it allows you to function completely, which then builds true authenticity of yourself, with yourself and with others. Rebellion just cuts you off from the free world and it makes you harder and and it sets you up for an emotional kind of prison time of hard labor without any foreseeable chance of parole. The villain era trend promises freedom, but if you worship the shadow, which is basically where the era stops, you just end up trapped inside it. Empowerment isn't about becoming the villain, which is what villain era is all about. It's about facing the shadow inside you and then choosing authenticity. Chances are, if you have entertained the idea of villain era for yourself, then your shadow is something like unhappiness or loneliness or confusion or maybe an unsatisfying relationship. Villain era will take you deeper into that shadow, and it doesn't give you any way out. Am I right or am I wrong? Leave a comment with your experience of villain era. Did it help? And if it didn't help, and if today's show was a glimmer of light that you think you might need, there's plenty more in this playlist just waiting to be watched. Welcome to the new world. This is Ellie Dreams and Under. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share and do all of those things, and leave me your comments. I want to know what you think. I love knowing you're here, and I'll see you in my dreams. Bye.